All right, Maddie, we are back with After Hours. Maddie, we have a lot to talk about. Very interesting weekend for crypto, but we are in a very odd predicament right now because we did set a all-time high for Bitcoin like a week and a half ago, and now Bitcoin is, we didn't expect to go to the moon from there, but we retraced a little bit. Now we're consolidating. What are we expecting from Bitcoin here?
I think that it's interesting to think expectation versus, what's going to happen. My expectation right now is that this pullback or consolidation is going to continue a little further. It's really, really required at this point in the cycle. We've talked on the Crypto Charge live show about some of the bigger and more macro charts. We always look at the daily charts. We'll look a lot of times at the 3-day and sometimes even the weekly charts. And we're seeing that Bitcoin is very overheated on the RSI, which is the relative strength index. So that's one thing to consider. Now, it's not binary in the sense of you've reached this level, so now we must correct, minus 40, 50%. But when you make these topping structures, you start to, push into the RSI, the upper bound of the RSI, you can potentially see a little bit more of a knockback over time. So I would like to see Bitcoin correct a little bit more from here. Even some more downward correction would be nice. Now, of course, if we don't allow the altcoin market to catch up first with a little drop in dominance and a little steady Bitcoin, of course, altcoins are going to get hurt during that period. But this is to be expected. As soon as you guys start to accept some of those realities, it becomes a lot easier to deal with whatever does come with the market. We are overdue for a correction, severely overdue for a correction. Altcoins have yet to make up their catch-up move. Now, if altcoins make up their catch-up move now, and we see a drop in dominance, and we see Bitcoin, kind of do a little bit of this sideways action, that would put me actually a little bit more on guard of like, okay, yeah, we're for sure overdue for a correction now. The whole market's probably going to correct altogether here. So ideally, I'd like to see Bitcoin correct here, but a little bit of sideways probably over the next few days is to be expected.
That is a very interesting outlook, Maddie. I like how you laid out all the possibilities there. But also another factor we gotta talk about here. 30 days till Bitcoin halving, Maddie. Is this gonna play a factor?
It's it's one of these metrics that we've talked about that's kind of been debunked to some extent. Not to say that the scheduled halving doesn't remove supply or the amount of oncoming circulating supply every year or every day through Bitcoin mining, but it's not the catalyst that we thought it was, because we have now made a new all-time high in Bitcoin, well ahead of the halving, which we've never done previously. So yes, there could still be a supply shock factor, but we now know without a doubt that there is not this binary explosion. There are other proof of work models out there as well that have schedules, although they're later on different time than Bitcoin schedule, but those coins don't necessarily immediately react with their halvings, like Litecoin or Zcash, right? Those have the same halving mechanisms. We don't see this immediate price action with it. So I think that that's one thing that we should consider that already was a little bit of an indicator to us that halving doesn't equal price go up. And this really just proved that. So yes, over long periods of time, the halving process does make Bitcoin more scarce. It makes Bitcoin mining more expensive, which at one point, right, we're going to have to figure out what we're doing with energy wise in order to make it profitable for mining companies. Otherwise, you're at risk of centralized mining, which we're already on track for here, team. And that's really the idea that, right now, if you look at the number of corporations that are responsible for the majority of the rewards on the Bitcoin network, it's a very high number. It's like over 50% of all mining is owned by a handful of corporations. So over time, if the machines become more expensive and we have supply chain issues, and you have certain people who are able to have access to these things because they can pay whatever price to corner the market, what you essentially have is a less decentralized Bitcoin over time because that mining has become more concentrated. So yes, supply wise, from a math standpoint, of course, takes somewhere out of circulation, but I don't think it's the esoteric thing that everyone puts it on a pedestal for. I don't think proof of work makes a coin special per se.
Right, Maddie, I like that. One last question before we get into the news here. We will be getting into some news here, team, so make sure you stick around for that. But I do have a question, and I wanted to ask you. I wrote it down because I was throwing down some limit orders this weekend on Coinbase. I probably should have just sent it over to MEXC, but when you add money to Coinbase and you can't withdraw it for like 7 to 9 days. So I was just in that predicament, throwing limit orders down on Coinbase and looking for API 3. What did I throw? Zcash. My Zcash got filled. So Maddie, my question to you is, what altcoins are you looking to be buying right now? You talked about if Bitcoin crashes or consolidates or has a little correction here, we could potentially see altcoins move lower a little bit. Are there any altcoins in particular you are looking to pick up soon here if altcoins do decide to come down a bit?
Yeah, I've got my eyes on a few coins here. I've actually entered a new position. We picked up some Alluvium at the end of last week. That was a gaming-oriented token. Picked some up around the 130 mark there. But this was with the intention to potentially average in a little bit here, all the way down in kind of like the $70 to $80 region if we were to offer that. So I've established a new position here. Some people are going to maybe look at it and go, wow, Matt, that's not very conservative of you getting into gaming coins, right? But it was actually a technical setup that was brought to my attention. I looked it over. It's available on many marketplaces, including MEXC, which is a big plus for me. I enjoy placing limits on MEXC. I don't have issues with getting filled or anything like that. So I've entered a Alluvium position, but out of my existing holdings, I would be looking primarily to add to something like Casper, maybe a little bit API 3. There is that pivot zone that has yet to be rebalanced. I'm looking for some potentially lower prices. If we were to correct across the board, there would be a great opportunity to reaccumulate some API 3 as we did do a little bit of profit taking there. And those would be kind of, I would say, my bigger focuses. Now, Zcash is always, a great buy. I had put a lot of focus on Zcash down in the $18 to $25 region for some time. So I'm pretty happy with those overall positions. But that's really kind of some of the meat and potatoes I'd be looking for there. Now, of course, we also are going to have some leverage opportunities as well if we see a big market correction across the board. So we might be looking at short-term trades that close in a week or 2 weeks or something of that nature. But again, that's always going to be contingent on what those prices actually look like. The deeper Bitcoin corrects, the deeper the altcoin market corrects. So the best case scenario for us, like I mentioned at the top of the show, is that altcoins do their catch-up move here and then the whole market corrects as a whole. That would be the most ideal situation for us to still have higher lows to buy without altcoins getting their teeth kicked in and sent back to their pivot zones as a whole.
Nice stuff, Maddie. So, all right, let's get into the show. Quick little couple of things here, team. We started jumping off of, talking about Bitcoin, talking about altcoins here. But, before we get deeper into the show here, become a CryptoCharge member. We're from CryptoCharge.com, our platform of education, tools, our shows, our community, all over there. Go check us out over there. A lot of you guys have been joining recently, and we've been having some interesting conversations. I've been checking the DGen layer, checking what you guys have been having to say. And a lot of you guys have been talking about, Maddie, you're actually bringing up a point to me earlier about meme coins. Can you quickly recite what you were talking about? Like when you look at 2021 meme coins and then 2023, you're telling me an interesting stat before the show. Do you remember what you were talking about there?
Yeah, so I was talking about the saturation of memes over these last several years. So we really just had a handful of memes previously. Those really ramped up in this last cycle. We saw people better understanding that you can just launch anything on ERC20. It's not difficult to launch something on the Ethereum network, really, and it shouldn't be for most of these networks to launch your own project. But people have realized it doesn't take a lot. All it takes is a little bit of marketing, and they could potentially get something out there with a new coin there. So that number of coins on market went from around 120 in 2021 to around 1,300 by the end of last year in 2023. Now, mind you, this is prior to us seeing the flurry at the top of this year of the Solana-based memes that have come out. So I would say that number has more than doubled by now. So that's one of the things I consider when we look at meme coins is, we see what meme coins have done in the past, and there's always the possibility of it pumps and you're able to make a nice little 5-10x, pull some money out and, move on with your life and be happy with your W. But as we have a greater saturation of those meme coins on the market, it becomes more difficult for some of these projects to stand out, right? One of two things either has to happen. Either everything rotates through the memes just perfectly to where a certain amount of money just keeps hopping down the cycle and all of these get the pump everyone's looking for, or an egregious amount of money has to pour into the crypto market as a whole in order for some of these price targets for people, they're looking for to come to fruition. And I'm talking about probably an additional $5 to $10 trillion that we wouldn't be expecting this cycle to pour in to make all the meme dreams come true, especially with the amount of meme coins that we have on market right now. So I just want you guys to consider market saturation as one of the things with memes out there, as well as exit liquidity. If you're not on a centralized exchange and you're over on a DEX, you have to remember that, you see the price on the screen, but that's not necessarily the price you're going to get filled at. You're at the mercy of the DEX, connecting you with a pool of mostly retail traders that are going to be able to fill not only the amount of money you're looking for, but also the size of your position. So just things to think about here, team. There's some of my team members that still decide to be into meme coins, but I still give them this information because even though you guys should be making your own choices, I still want you guys to be aware of all the aspects, involved with it. And if you're still say, okay, I understand that. Okay, well then good. We're all on the same page. But a lot of people don't consider these aspects, and then when they go to exit, they're very frustrated or confused as to why they're not able to get filled or not able to get everything filled, and they're not filled at the price they anticipated.
Nice. All right, Maddie, we're going to get into the news here, and I briefly discussed with you before the show. I was like, hey, you paying attention to the Slerf thing this morning? And Maddie was like, Slerf? And it's a very interesting story that I kept in with the community this morning, the Slerf community. I actually hopped in their Twitter space or their X space. And it was a lot of cope because the developer burned $10 million of the pre-sale that was put up for fundraising for this token, and the developer burned it all. So here's how it goes. Solana meme Slerf notches 1.7 billion in volume after a developer loses all pre-sale funds. So the developer behind the project ended up losing all received funds after accidentally sending the tokens to a burn address or one that is not controlled by anyone. So Maddie, I'm on this Twitter space this morning. Just a bunch of cope, just a bunch of people. It sounded like people my age, 20, early 20s. And it was just so sad to hear all these people talk about they were just coping with all the money they just lost, and they were talking about ways to like revive the project, posting more memes on Twitter and capitalizing on this big mistake this developer made and bringing more awareness to it. And they're talking about there could be someone in China that's looking at this and wants to buy Slerf right now, and they're talking about, oh, but first we need to get past this pre-sale fiasco. We need to figure out how to get these people their money back. So maybe just come up with $10 million to give back to the community. It's like, Maddie, these people are delusional. These people are not getting their money back. These people just threw it at a gamble here. And if you want to gamble, I think you should be like a little bit more have a little bit more like charisma with gambling and go to a casino, go to Pachanga, go to Yamava, go watch Nas and Wu-Tang perform and take your girl and go gamble at the tables. But this, sitting in the corner of your room and playing with meme coins and losing your money is not cool at all. Maddie, I want to get some of your thoughts on this because, within the community, we've been talking a lot about meme coins recently, and I'm pretty fed up with it, to be honest, and I hate seeing it because I'm here to put every single dollar I can into crypto to make it work for me over the long run, not for this cycle. And I'll get into what we saw last cycle, meme coins, but just your general thoughts to this. Is the SEC going to come after this guy?
There's only so many resources the SEC has. And unfortunately, they've decided to utilize and direct those resources at legitimate projects that have attempted to come into compliance with the existing securities laws we have here in the United States of America. At the end of the day, I'm a libertarian. And I believe that code is free speech. So if you want to post, a piece of code and people decide to do stupid things with it, whether it's giving you money, depositing their tokens into your protocol, that's really on them. Here's what I will say, though. It just is going to take one project, or call it project very loosely, one meme coin, where enough people get hurt badly enough to where the SEC is coming in, potentially releasing an enforcement action against them, and then that could potentially spark some other concerns within the meme coin community of enforcement actions coming on those projects. Because you guys have to remember that a lot of these guys think that they're able to get in and out, and then there's going to be no trace. The internet doesn't forget anything. Screenshots, screen scrapes, time machines going back and looking at old versions of pages and stuff. And a lot of these pages for meme coins explicitly have some sort of promise of profit or something that alludes to a post-sale obligation. And I know a lot of you guys don't consider these things when we talk about crypto or buying any assets as a whole, but it's a very, very fine line you have to ride. And a lot of these people are more concerned about getting the money in the project, getting as much volume out of it as possible to try to gain the traction, get out, and then go ahead and move on with the rest of their lives. A lot of what you're seeing out here on the Sol markets is a small group of people, we'll just call them the Solana cabal, if you will, pumping these coins up with their own bags, right? So let's say they have a few $1,000,000 each in Sol. They dump them into a project. What's going to happen? Even if nobody else has bought, you have 5 or 6 people that are just pouring a few $1,000,000 into these projects. You see them rise on the ranks on these DeFi scanners. You see a whole bunch of retail people start piling in, pushes that up a little higher in the ranks, and then whop, take out their money because you have now provided exit liquidity for them. Move on to the next one. It's entirely possible that many of these projects have been created and have been funded by the exact same people. So yes, there's always, the possibility you do really well and pick the right meme and you make a bunch of money, right? And I'm not telling you guys that I'm unhappy or I'm bitter that you're making money on meme coins. Please, if you made money, take that money, do something else with it now that you've been very lucky and been very blessed to, get this profit. I'm not upset with you. Please get your bag, but do something else with it now. But it's not risk-free, right? And the liquidity that you think that you see there isn't necessarily there. It's very, very easy to manipulate DeFi, which is, again, another reason why I think that DeFi is here to stay, but I think it has a very big bumpy road ahead of it when it comes to regulatory roadmaps for the DeFi space. And meme coins just happen to be a tiny sliver of that. So, just be careful out there, guys. Don't get involved with things you don't understand. Don't, try to think that you're gonna front run the rest of the market by, getting into this. I'm gonna get my quick 100x and then I'm gonna go buy all my XRP back. There's a good chance that you get really, really hurt on these compared to getting really, really lucky. You look at even a lot of the names on these meme coins out there, and a lot of them are just really offensive. Some of them are incredibly racial. A lot of them say things that really should never be said in 2024. I'm surprised you guys aren't canceled for this shit. And it just kind of cheapens the idea of DLT, right? Like you have all this perfect technology, you have all these use cases that are real and legitimate. You have a lot of people who have been involved in the space for a while, and then all of a sudden, what happens? The media has a field day with, investors get hurt again by buying this coin that should have been a blockchain project. No, guys, these are little piggyback viruses, in my opinion, off of real technology. So, for me, I'm willing to miss out on the gains on meme coins. I really am. I'm okay with just not having any gains from meme coins and knowing that everything in my portfolio is not going to zero. It's not. That's just the reality of it. There's not a single thing in my portfolio where I think it would ever go to zero. And with even if I have meme coins in my portfolio, I would just be nervous about it every day. I would be just looking at it going, all right, any one of these could absolutely collapse. There's nothing I can do about it. There's no recourse, guys. No one's going to help you. There aren't any attorneys that are going to do pro bono work to get your money back. It's gone. So if you lose money, it's completely gone. Just forget about it.
Maddie, and that's what I learned this morning is that these people actually want that marketing. They want something crazy to happen. Doesn't matter if it's good or negative. They just want the media attention because they believe that this is going to bring eyes to the project, bring people throwing money at the project. And that is so stupid. Like, when I was introduced to crypto, the gains were immaculate. The gains were nothing like I've ever seen in any other market shown to be real estate, stocks, whatever it is, never before seen. And like looking at XRP and looking at Casper and, the potential ROI on these altcoins are immaculate. But now you are looking at coins that have a whole nother dimension to it. When I say meme, I'm taking like the fundamental of like, it's a joke. It has no utility. If you go on, look at Dogecoin, why was it created in 2013? It was created as a joke, and its utility is charity, even though that's like the worst. That's gotta be the worst utility. I can't send charity with dollars, or I can't send you. So I gotta send you Dogecoin, and then you gotta go to a marketplace and sell it. Like, Maddie, what are we talking about here, team? And you know what? I was just like, I wanted to put this to bed, and this is what was going to put it to bed for me in my mind. It's like, okay, let's look at the track record of meme coins. So, Maddie, this is what I did this morning. I looked on a couple articles, and I said, okay, what were the top meme coins of last cycle? I landed on this article by Markets Insider. And so I'm going to share a couple of them with you, and then we're going to go to TradingView and see how they're doing, all right? So we got Shiba Inu. We got Dogecoin, Samoyed Coin, Doge Elon Mars, Hodge Finance, Mona Coin, Cum Rocket. Like, I don't mean to be
I totally
crude.
Forgot about that one. Holy shit, I forgot about Cum Rocket.
Like, it's just crude. And Safe Moon Inu, not Safe Moon the original, but Safe Moon Inu, a spawn of Safe Moon. Tiger King, Doggy. Okay, so you've seen them all, Matt. Now look at this. So I asked Maddie, I asked Maddie last week. I'm like, hey, what meme coins have made it since last cycle? And he was like, Doge and Shiba. I'm like, you're exactly right. I would agree. And then this weekend, I went through and actually looked. Guys, these coins are at zero, or as I was telling Matt before the show, they're at a mil, which is a tenth of a cent or less. So you got Elon Mars here. What is that price? Mona, Safe Moon Inu, Doggy. Guys, these are supposed to be the top 10 meme coins of last cycle. And I got 4 of them on TradingView right here that are near zero or at zero or not listed on any major exchange, and you can only get them through PancakeSwap or on Gate.io. And the other 3 or 4 that I can't pull up on here are not even accessible on TradingView. And here's a great example of it. Let's go to, so you see I couldn't pull up Hodge Finance here, Matt. Look at this. Where's the website? I have the link here. Here's the website. Thank you for your patience. We'll vote for a new lead team. Like, this is the things you guys want to bet on. So as we can gather here, out of the top 10 meme coins that made it since last cycle, two, three, 2.5 made it. Like, that's what you guys are choosing to bet on here. All right. And I gave Maddie this analogy last week, and it's a terrible analogy, but this is how I look at my investing. If something terrible happened in my life and I left my desk, I didn't get back to crypto, some major thing happened and I had to go away, I got locked up or something, and I had to come back years later, I am comfortable enough not selling my XRP, my Casper, my Zcash, my API 3, all my other cryptos this cycle, and being able to come back next year and be able to get that next opportunity within following years after that to sell my crypto in the next bull run. I can't say the same thing for these meme coins. Absolutely not. So, Maddie, there's the point there. Two of them made it, or three. You get three to the other one there. But give me your thoughts.
There were some other variations that started popping up, but we're talking about some of the big ones that came out. Safe Moon, even though that was Safe Moon Inu, Safe Moon was also a pretty big name at the top of last cycle, or 2021, 2022, and it's completely gone now. Beyond zero, negative numbers. Yep. So I do want you guys to just consider that. A big portion of what I'm doing here, and I have been doing, is not just trading for cycles. I do capitalize on cycles in order to, recompound some of those gains, sell part of the bag, keep some of the bag, rinse and repeat. But like Gavin said, it's really about, if I come back 2-3 years from now and something terrible happened to me, I was in a coma, right? I would come back and whatever, prices maybe above or the same or whatever, things could be different. I would highly doubt they would be below my current averages for most of my bags, because again, averaging into good quality assets over time, you end up getting some decent averages, because if you take your foot off the gas when we get into these periods, you tend to preserve a decent number in there. I feel very confident that I would come back to a most likely a better portfolio even in a bear market. I hope that you guys take what we talk about on this channel as not, dollars today for today. These are opportunities to build generational wealth over several years. And I think that for some of you guys, maybe you had different, expectations coming into this. You've seen how fast crypto has moved. And I think we're still very early in these bull market phases, that really, we shouldn't be so numb already to 5, 10, and 20 X's. And I think that's what's happened here in this market, is that people have become so numb to rewards that are really not found very often in the stock market of this capacity in this short period of time. And it's not enough for them anymore. Or number two is, you walked away from this market. You didn't do anything during this bear market. You accumulated nothing. And now you feel like you need to use these, meme coin vessels as an opportunity to make it all back so that you can buy back into your main coins again. It's better to just restart with whatever amount you're actually comfortable with, and not deviate from the plan because you feel like there's not going to be another opportunity. There's always going to be another opportunity, and I just always take that with me, and it takes a lot of the stress and anxiety out of my investing. And I don't feel the need to get into these fly my night projects. I want to know that my money's still going to be there a year from now. Even if it's maybe not reaching the expectations I was looking for. So I'll continue to double down on my plan, and nobody could talk me out of it. You could show me your portfolio with memes and I would say, awesome, I'm really happy for you. I'm glad you made the XYZ amount of money. Hopefully you're a good steward of it moving forward, and you invest some of that in some risk off stuff and pack some of it away. But it's not for me, and that's okay. I don't have to apologize for that.
Well said, Maddie. I never want any of my altcoins to go to zero, because then I lose all credibility. I want to be like, if you're a Crypto Charge member and you did what me and Maddie did this bear market, and you bought XRP, you DCA'd Casper, you're feeling pretty good right now. And I wouldn't trade that feeling for anything. And now at this moment, when our cryptos are up, now people, or Bitcoin and total market cap of crypto is up. Attention is on crypto right now in the news and the media, and now people are trying to get back in. And I just got to say, guys, to get that quick money is still not with meme coins. It may, but it may go to zero, or may, some crazy might happen with these, some of these projects, like happened this morning with Slerf. And I know these people are going to clip it and throw it over Twitter, but it's the truth. It's the truth. And it's crazy to even have to talk about this. But if you're just getting into crypto right now, we have tools on the website, and Maddie posts trades all the time, where you can be trading assets like Chainlink, Solana, assets that've been around for a while, or assets that you could invest in right now, swing trade the bag up, sell, and then enter back in a bear market and accumulate from the lows like we did this last bear market. So you haven't missed your opportunity yet. You've missed a big opportunity, but you're joining us now. There's opportunity still here for you guys. So I really, Maddie taught me this since day one. It's like every dollar counts, and that is truly how I look at it. Every dollar counts, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm taking money out of my savings, not money that I'm gonna need, but money that I have sitting there, and I'm putting it into crypto because I feel like this is the last hurrah here. I DCA'd the bear market, and I'm gathering every single penny I can grab right now and throwing into the assets that I believe in. My assets haven't changed since day one of the bear market, and they're not going to change now. So, last topic here. This is like kind of celebratory here, Maddie. I don't know if you saw this, but Peter Schiff takes a U-turn over crypto, says he should have invested. So Peter Schiff, Maddie's favorite guy, known for his criticism of Bitcoin, admits regret for not investing in it in 2010 when it was trading for a few dollars.
Wow. I'm actually floored right now. I genuinely am. Peter has spent, and I don't think this is the end of Peter complaining about Bitcoin, but for years and years, like Peter Schiff has talked shit consistently on crypto, has called Bitcoin an enormous bubble. Not to say that, like I've said, you get these big parabolas, of course, I'm going to start anticipating a correction, but Peter has been a bear in every market condition on crypto and Bitcoin as a whole. He uses the Bitcoin engagement on Twitter to, bring people in to come argue with him on his posts so that he actually stays relevant. And now I'm sure that he's, looking at the market as a whole and he's like, all right, this is like the third big cycle where I've, been super wrong about Bitcoin. And maybe he was wrong to not buy them, but I guarantee you, Peter will still at some point tell you guys, well, still not a good time to buy. We're probably going to correct back down to $1,000 or a $1,500 Bitcoin or something crazy. Or we're going to see, some, small micro cap blow up and, essentially blow up in the sense of getting rugged. Peter using that as a reason why, see, crypto is very dangerous as a whole. Well, guess what, guys? You can buy absolute dog shit in the stock market. All right. There's plenty of garbage in the stock market as well. Just because you own stocks doesn't mean that you have a good stock portfolio. Let's just be clear. But it's still good to see that he's at least admitting that he was wrong and not trying to delusionally bury his head in the sand. I've said many times, I'm not a maximalist when it comes to investing. I do own precious metals myself, physical precious metals. I see the value in that both from a privacy aspect as well as like a slow and steady boogie. And, also from almost like a doomsdayer perspective of like, hey, like the world's gone to shit. Yeah, we still need precious metals to make stuff. And that's a valuable trading piece. But, it's certainly not where I'm going to put my risk on money. It's really kind of just that slow boogie in the back of my safe. That's just kind of like, all right, great. In 20 years from now, if these are worth, 3x, 4x what I paid for them, I'm happy. And I wish that, Peter would look at other investment vehicles and not feel the need to talk down on someone else's investment vehicle in order to elevate their own investment vehicle. You can see the value in both. You can still illustrate, why one or the other is a better long-term value, but you can't deny what's been happening in the crypto space. You can't deny the adoption. And we've also seen Peter just be relatively uneducated in the past, even about how Bitcoin works. He tried to say that there was some issue with a wallet he had that had some Bitcoin in it, and that it was whatever provider's fault that he couldn't get into it. And everyone's like, no, Peter, you just forgot your password, you old man. Like that's this, you have to remember your password. Like who's managing this for you, right? Like you should have just used a Coinbase account if you're, this irresponsible. So, we're going to continue to see that over the years. Is not just Peter Schiff, but lots of people of Peter Schiff's age or older, in the old way of thinking, they're the same people that only go inside the bank to do business. They're the people that still take and receive physical checks in the mail. There's a generation that will never fully embrace DLT and crypto, and that's okay. So I always take, not just because of age, but if there is, people out there that continue to perpetuate these ideas without any actual real grounds of, hey, this is why this tech is not good. And if you fully understand the terms you're talking about and you're still going to present a counterpoint, great. I'm all for that, right? We definitely need and deserve to have, dialogue in the space. But, just to overtly double down on, this is all a Ponzi scheme because I didn't buy early enough, that's absolute garbage. And that's where Peter Schiff's come from. So hopefully, he doesn't continue to try to use Bitcoin as his little engagement show, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
Team, Ask Maddie show this Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific. Maddie, we got to wrap it up here. Anything to leave the team with?
Yeah, we mentioned we are obviously from cryptocharge.com. We have obviously a great deal still going on right now. So code YouTube gets you guys 50% off for our platform. That's everything. We don't have separate sections of our platform. There's no different levels of programs. Everyone gets the same value when they come in. So that's the 5 weekly updates we do. So we go live Monday through Friday. I'm on there 3 days a week. I have a couple of business partners that cover some other aspects that are on a couple times a week. We also have our morning updates twice a week where we do technical analysis. We have the Discord community where you guys can ask questions. We post some trade ideas, live announcements. It's a great place for people to ask questions. And all of this with code YouTube gets you either $50 a month or $4.99 for the year. I really don't think there's anyone out there providing as much value as we do for even $50 a month. I've compared a lot of our plans and pricing to a lot of other creators out there, and we're just exponentially cheaper all around with more support. I never want you guys to just take my word for it. That's why we give you guys 30 days free with any membership you pick. Anytime within those 30 days, you're like, I'm not happy. This is not my program. I was looking for something different. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Just reach out. Let me know that you want to cancel your membership. We'll cancel it. You won't be charged a dime. And all that time, you'll be able to explore everything, including the Discord community. So at least give us a try, see what we're about. And I'm always looking for feedback. So even if you tell me, hey, I don't like your program, I'm just curious why you didn't like my program. I'm still going to let you cancel no matter what. But I genuinely care about making this a space that's good and educational for everyone around us. So give us a chance. CryptoCharge.com, YouTube 50% off.
Words of wisdom, Maddie. All right, we'll see you Wednesday, team. Bye.